today on Rappler.
I will not explain any discrepancy because there was none.
Paul Chief Sixto Brillantes denies padding the contract for the deployment of election machines to Mindanao. Senator Gingona wants New People's Army to surrender those responsible for the ambush on his mother's convoy. And the government says peace talks with the National Democratic Front failed. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Commission on Elections Chair Sixto Brillantes defends the allegedly anomalous contract for the deployment of election materials to Mindanao. 4 people file a complaint against Brillantes for violating the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials. They accuse COMELEC of, quote, padding the deployment contract with the forwarder Air Freight 2100 Inc. The complainants submit to the Ombudsman 2 versions of the resolution issued by the COMELEC Special Bids and Awards Committee in connection with the deployment of ballot counting machines in Mindanao. The first version, dated February 14th, shows winning bidder Air 21 having submitted the lowest bid of 302 million pesos. The second version, dated February 23, shows Air 21 submitted a bid of 490 million pesos. The amount increased by 188 million pesos. Brillantes says if the deal was anomalous, the losing bidders, To Go and Argo International Forwarders Inc., should have initiated the complaint.
I will not explain any discrepancy because there was none. Of course, the fight was really between Air 21 and Argo and To Go. These are big companies. Which means kung merong anomaly na nangyari, hindi papayag yung malaking kumpanya like To Go and Argo to just let it go.
Pressed for an explanation, Brillantes does not respond directly, but suggests the difference could be due to, quote, mistakes or adjustments before the COMELEC arrived at a final decision.
So it can happen legally?
Nagkakaroon ng adjustment, nag-aaway yung mga TWG namin, nagdidiskusyon yung SBAC until a final decision is arrived.
Brillantes says he will give a detailed explanation once he gets a notice from the Ombudsman. A senior military official says the New People's Army extorts millions of pesos from candidates for the May polls and will likely use the money to buy guns. Major General Jose Mabanta says candidates who want to gain access to rebel-controlled areas pay between 50,000 and 5 million pesos. Mabanta says, quote, with the amounts involved, they will be buying arms and ammunition, and these may be fired and used against them. He says the amount is significantly higher than the money regularly extorted from mining, logging, and other businesses based in the rural areas. Mabanta urges candidates to reject the NPA's demands and its permit-to-campaign scheme. He says, quote, candidates who are giving in to the demands are helping the rebels further conduct terroristic activities that victimize innocent people. Mabanta says criminal charges will be filed against candidates caught paying the NPA. 9 days since the ambush of his mother's convoy, Senator T.G. Gingona says the NPA should surrender those responsible for the attack. In an interview on ANC's Head Start, Gingona says the NPA must surrender the culprits. These people must face the law. On April 20th, the NPA attacked the vehicle of Gingoog City Mayor Ruthie Gingona, killing 2 of her aides and injuring her and 2 policemen. The NPA rebels fired at the vehicle when it failed to stop at their checkpoint. The communist rebel group apologizes for the attack, but claims it was in self-defense. Senator Gingona says NPA's intent was to kill. The 78-year-old outgoing mayor who sustained wounds in her cheeks and thigh demands justice for the attack, saying, quote, 2 people died for what they have done. Senator Gingona wants NPA checkpoints dismantled, saying the rebels had no right to set up checkpoints in the first place. The Communist Party of the Philippines says what some refer to as the permit to campaign does not exist. The CPP also criticizes the armed forces of the Philippines for using, quote, perverted propaganda to say the New People's Army is extorting money from politicians. The CPP says its election policies aim to, quote, regulate the conduct of the election campaign to ensure that the rights and welfare of the masses are not trampled upon. In past elections, candidates complained about the NPA's permit to campaign policy in rural areas. The Philippines says peace talks with communist rebels failed and that it will not be able to end the decades-long insurgency by 2016 as it had originally hoped. Chief Government Negotiator Alex Padilla says the administration is looking for, quote, a new approach following nearly 3 years of failed negotiations. Padilla says, we are at an impasse now. Whether we talk or not, the same violence continues. President Benigno Aquino wanted to seal a peace deal but to end the 44-year insurgency before his term ends in 2016. Negotiations between the government and the rebels barely progressed after talks in Norway in early 2011. Padilla blames the National Democratic Front for the failure, accusing it of setting new conditions for talks like the release of captured senior rebels. Gunmen kill a candidate of the opposition United Nationalist Alliance in North Cotabato Sunday night. Omar Gapur, candidate for councilor in the town of Banisilan, was attacked after a campaign rally at the town proper. Gapur sustained gunshot wounds at the back of his head and died on the spot. Authorities are investigating if the attack in Banisilan is politically motivated. The 2013 Palarong Pambansa closes, but not without its fair share of stories of comebacks, upsets, and triumphs. Devon Wong files this video blog.
The Palaro 2013 Games are officially winding down, with the closing ceremonies marking the end of another successful year. It's no surprise that NCR comes out on top again this year, with Western Visayas and Central Visayas coming in second and third. But there were great stories of underdogs overcoming the odds too, like the Central Visayas secondary boys basketball team upsetting NCR in the finals, or comebacks like Marilyn Avila cinching gold for the 400-meter individual hurdles. It's been a tough week for athletes fighting through their events, but the overall message of this year's Palaro is of peace and unity. The Department of Education made special efforts to encourage more interactions between regions off the field this year, including holding a peace summit with members from each delegation to help promote peace through sports. Organizers hope that athletes take home more than just medals this year and realize that the Games can only exist through working together for a common purpose. Until next year, Devon Wong, Rappler, Dumaguete.
Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 1, a top U.S. virologist warns health authorities to prepare for the possibility of the deadly H7N9 virus mutating, allowing human-to-human transmission. National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases head Anthony Fauci says the virus is unpredictable and might mutate into a form that can spread between humans. Researchers are developing a diagnostic test to identify H7N9 along with a vaccine, with clinical trials due in July or August. More than 110 people in mainland China have been infected with H7N9, and 23 people have died. Taiwan reports 1 case of the virus. At number 8, Syria's information minister says the U.S. and British claims of chemical weapons used in Syria are, quote, a bare-faced lie. On Saturday, Amran al-Zobi says Syria will never use chemical weapons, citing its adherence to international law and, quote, humanitarian and moral issues. On Friday, U.S. President Barack Obama warned Syria using chemical weapons would be a game-changer after the U.S., Israel, and Britain all cited signs the regime attacked with a deadly nerve agent, sarin. But Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Mikhail Boganov says these claims should not become a pretext for foreign military intervention in Syria. And at number 10, U.S. President Barack Obama pokes fun at himself, his opponents, and the news media at the White House Correspondents' Dinner this weekend. Obama says his re-election gives him the chance to carry out a radical agenda, joking, quote, I am not the strapping young Muslim socialist that I used to be. Some of Obama's jokes target billionaire Sheldon Adelson, who spent a fortune backing Mitt Romney and several Republican members of Congress. Hollywood stars South Korean rapper Psy and singer Barbara Streisand are among those seen in the event. But the Hollywood meets Washington party gets the ire of Sarah Palin. She says, quote, America is buried in taxes. The permanent political class in D.C. dresses up and has a prom to make fun of themselves. No need for that. We get the real joke. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. You may now also get The Wrap directly on your email. Just subscribe to the daily newsletter. You can find the form at the bottom of The Wrap. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page. That crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that have affected Filipinos, that have gotten the most votes on their mood meter. If we take a look today, you see the topic of the elections, which are exactly 2 weeks from today. Bacolod Bishop, uphill battle and anti-RH campaign connected to the elections. You have a whopping 80% angry, 13% happy, and 7% annoyed. The NPA, story for today, extorts up to 5 million pesos from each candidate, a whopping 85% angry. What's interesting is the story that's gotten the most number of votes. 2 weeks before polls, MMK features Juan Ponce Enrile. You have 45% annoyed, and even then, 32% angry. Leading to the mood of the day, it's red. Today, most people are angry. Well, that's Rappler's Newscast for today, Monday, April 29, 2013. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today. We leave you with excerpts from Patricia Evangelista's documentary about the intense local race for leadership in the country's capital, the Battle of Manila.
Kayo ang husga. Tatagan po ninyo ang inyong kalooban. Huwag kayong magpapadala sa takot-takot. Ngayon, mga kaibigan, anong ginagawa? Puro paninira. Puro sigaw-sigaw. Puro hamon-hamon. Umutang laro. Ngayon, pinakamasama si Erap. Dati ang bait-bait mo kay Erap. Bakit? Kasi may kailangan ka. Kasi makikinabang ka. May paiyak-iyak ka. Kaya po, yan. Maganda bang gawain niya? Ipakikita sa mga anak ninyo. Ang tambalan, lumagan sa nagpapaliwan. Ang tambalan, lumalaban sa nagpapaliwan. Nakikisuyo po ako, sana maunawaan ninyo itong pakisuyo ko. Kung sakali lang naman na ako'y tipo ninyo na maging vice mayor ulit. Kung sakali, mga kaibigan, ako lang ang tipo ninyo at hindi nyo iboboto si Erap, huwag din ako ibotong vice mayor. Huwag na po. Alam niyo po kung bakit? Naturingan ng vice mayor ako. Si Lolo na naman ang mayor. Hindi po ako magiging epektibo. Hindi ako makakatulong sa inyo. Hindi ko malaman kung anong buhay meron ako para akong 3 taon na sa purgatorio. Mga kaibigan, huwag niyo po ako isusuko sa buhaya. Hindi ko kakayanin na si Lolo na naman ang alkalde ng lungsod ng Maynila. Ang tambalan, lumalaman sa nagpapahirap.